Good evening and assalamu alaikum. So, my name is Bilal Davis, and I'm going to be doing a series on my research, Ethics of Care. This is research an action research project that I did in my first year of my grad studies in a Master's of Education program at Middlesex University, Dubai. Right now, I'm just going to go into a little bit of background about teaching and reaching students in the 21st century school classrooms through an ethics of care. This is the title of my research. So, the landscape of teaching in today's school is evolving and changing. Teaching in the 21st century schools requires that teachers employ innovative and creative ways to show their curriculum and support student learning. Recent research indicates that one way in which this can be achieved is by teaching and reaching students and through the use of ethics of care. Teaching and reaching students in contemporary classrooms is essential to teachers being able to teach and for students being able to learn. Ethics of care has surfaced as a topic of great interest. It is gaining traction in many teachers' professional practice, as it is one way in which teachers might teach and reach their students. Teachers are also exploring how to have positive impacts on student outcomes, such as caring for their learning, caring about themselves, and caring about their learning community. So, the purpose of my study and gathering my information was to shed light on the current and recent trends, such as ethics of care. Um, and then later on, we will talk about an analysis of literature that is necessary to understand better and explore the concept. And additionally, um, kind of do a review of the literature, which is essential to help frame and situate current and recent research around the issues, which teachers like myself might like to explore in an action research project. So, lastly, a review of the literature will also help identify areas where the gaps exist in which the case for more research is necessary. So, we always have that, we're always looking at that. Um, so when I did an analysis of the literature surrounding various themes and areas of focus, the intention of the ethics of care based teaching should be with the end in mind. Falkenberg argues that students do not want to be in school simply to learn subjects, but suggests students genuinely want to learn how to be socially well adjusted, meet their mental and physical needs, respect human consciousness, balance their wants and their needs, manage their time, and deal with the unknown and conflicting limitations. When teachers accomplish teaching and reaching their students, they begin establishing a caring learning environment. Students take joy in school, have a faith in their teachers, and are responsible for their own education. Regarding the learning community, students raise when I did my research in research in general, regarding the learning community, students raise their level of social moral values, care for others, conflict, and management. In the development of the community in educational context, schools are viewed as caring communities. The work of improving learning and learning experiences starts to derive from within oneself. It then extends into the learning community itself. This includes students, teachers, and school leadership. And that comes from Barth et al. The second area is students learning to care for themselves, each other, and others. So, teaching science, for instance, is an example of an act of caring. Nottings's care ethics acclimatize educators to prepare students to care for themselves and for one another, and to care about worldviews. At the core of science education and participatory democracy, this is a responsibility to educating students to make apprised decisions, judge critically, and affirm that they can have an impact. Mueller et al. Mueller linked science instruction to ethics precisely and featured the value of assisting teachers and cultivating a propensity to examine the aspect of personal beliefs and how they impact teaching and learning. Mueller, excuse me, Mueller wrote that youth must not merely travel between science classes, they should engage in the competency of how they should live with others and the ecosystem. According to De Boer, there is no anonymity on precisely the reasons science literacy is critical. There is substantial understanding that it is vital. Teaching and reaching students as an ethical, moral, and professional endeavor. Part of the work required in providing a caring environment is considered an ethical, moral, and professional endeavor. It means making sure there is adequate language support for bilingual students. It also requires that schools implement care in relating, reaching and connecting to diverse cultures, especially minority students, where the curriculum is adapted to include culturally relevant content. Children often are not sure of their values. However, it should not be forced upon them. They must have autonomy to decide for themselves about their values, thus empowering them to make the right decisions for themselves. Reflecting on professional practices towards ethics of care. One way that teachers can explore how they teach, reach, and transform classrooms or create a caring environment in their classrooms is through reflective practices. Reflecting on change or on interventions is a powerful way for teachers to consider what happens in their classrooms. Reflecting and looking at what one does in the school to create a caring environment, thinking about why you do what you do as a teacher, and thinking about if it works is an essential aspect of supporting students in their learning and in promoting a change in their behaviors. So, upon synthesizing the academic sources and research, there were several key findings and contributions. The ethics of care had an array of theoretical underpinnings. The ethics of care in education and attachment prompts the idea of school leaders and teachers to reach and teach students. The ethics of care can provide a basis for school leadership empowerment and administration framework. Also, in-service teachers development. And it can be a framework as well for pre-service teacher preparation in general. Ethics of care, promoting empowerment, encouragement, and leadership in schools. School administrators play a considerable role in whether students embody social moral values because it is inculcated to teachers, which in turn is modeled to students. If school staff, social workers, principals, and leaders push for an inclusive school environment while using an empowering leadership framework, teachers and students will feel supported in the ethics of care. And spirituality is a crucial component to be included in this framework because it is this human spirit that understands others and oneself. Listening to others, providing encouragement to others, and believing in others' ability to do their best is dynamic. A dynamic type of school leadership is necessary so that teachers and students accept the challenge of inclusion. Ethics of care, theorizing morality in education, and attachment for in service teachers. There are many theoretical perspectives for veteran and novice teachers to consider the ethics of care in today's classrooms. Falkenberg states that there are three categories of ethics of care concerning a theory of morality. These are relational ontology, a concern for human needs, and a subscription to particularism. The first category deals with a human's ability to know right from wrong. Second is humans are socially dependent beings that rely on each other for prosperity, hence relational theory by Nell Noddings. And thirdly, it depends on the situation on which a priority is taken over morals. So, ethics based education is morality in education. Students need to be indoctrinated with it in order to practice virtue as a way of life. Falkenberg suggests that this is the best way to create a learning environment of morality. Teachers must work hard to promote a highly refined ethics of care program. Teachers must work hard to promote a highly refined ethics of care. Teachers must work hard to model, connect with students, and promote values of ethics of care. Developmental discipline, which is derived from attachment theory, requires teachers to provide a supportive, nurturing environment. With fair classroom rules and standards for behavior, students will adhere to them, especially with the most challenging behavior students. The drawback is that without the use of rewards and punishments, is that it takes time and caution on the part of the teacher. Students can be trained to obey classroom rules in order to get rewards and to escape punishment. However, students do not cultivate from within the motivation and knowledge of their actions because it relies on bribes and threats that depend on authority, obedience, and this is not the best way. Findings of relevant studies regarding caring centered management. Several studies have found teachers tackle problems through one to one relationships with students, held every student accountable, and interacted in culturally appropriate ways. It also required developing relationships, abstained from behavioral management, and implemented a culturally relevant pedagogy. So at this point, I enjoyed our time talking about this, and next time we will go a little bit further about developing ethics of care as a framework for preparing pre-service teachers. But what are your comments? Leave me your remarks about ethics of care. Is ethics of care something that you knew about? Is this something that you are currently doing in your own practice, but you didn't know what it was called? So, let me know in the comments what you think about ethics of care, and is this something that you can implement? And I look forward to hearing from you and joining me in my next session. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen and learn. Take care.